PhD, he made sure that the problem is not left behind and continued till the technology which is made viable, both the technologically and economically viable product. This is something we have to learn from Professor Pradeep, and we have to inculcate this culture in us. Being a Calicut University alumni, I hope University of Calicut, especially the Department of Chemistry, will get Professor Pradeep's full support in our future endeavors. I request Professor Pradeep to have some kind of MOU between University of Calicut and Professor Pradeep's lab, so the students and faculty members get an exposure to the advanced fields of study, especially the work culture and the ethics followed in Professor Pradeep's lab and his team. I don't want to prolong more. With all your permission, I declare the webinar inaugurated. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Jayaraj, sir. I invite Professor Ravindran, Professor of Chemistry, University of Calicut and former Dean of Science, to chair the session. Please, Professor Ravindran.
Thank you, Professor, here for kindly inviting me to chair this session. The Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Jayaraj, has given a wonderful introduction to the scientific contributions of Professor Pradeep. It has always been a great thing to listen to Professor Pradeep because I was a research student in IIT Chennai when he joined the university as a faculty member. And ever since, he has grown into a tall tree with so many branches everywhere. And there are, many of his students have themselves grown into academic leaders in different areas. And he is a very internationally well-known expert in the area of nanoscience and technology in its most advanced forms, and created a wonderful facility, the DST's Nanoscience Unit at IIT Chennai, with almost all the sophisticated facilities which you can think of. It's amazing. When I visited his lab last time, the kind of experience that you get, what kind of a transformation has been brought into the institute. Now, he has always been a mentor for us, and regularly he used to take at least a couple of our students for their MSc project in his lab, because that is one way of getting exposure to students. We already have a lot of things going together, and it's wonderful to have Professor Pradeep with us. And he is presently the Deepak Parekh Institute Chair Professor at IIT Madras. And he is one of the most prolific researchers, and is a recipient of many national and international awards, including the Bhatnagar Prize. And that was when you had to be below 45 at that time. And he is a recipient of the Third World Academy Prize. And he was awarded the most prestigious Nikkei Asia Prize for 2020 for his contributions, particularly the way that he transformed water research and how to make drinking water to the common man at an affordable price. In view of his contribution to science, the nation honored him the Padmashri Award, as the people described earlier. And he is also a very wonderful writer, both in English and Malayalam. And he has written several books and research articles. In addition to that, he had also written a beautiful book on nanoscience, Kunju Kanangalde Vasandam, in Malayalam. And I think it was awarded the Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award. So with these words, let me invite Professor Pradeep to interact with us today and to tell us on the affordable excellence in the university system, maybe particularly with reference to Kerala. Professor Pradeep.
Let me first show these slides. Please tell me whether this is observable to you. Is it okay?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Oh, sure. I can. We
Very
can
nice.
see.
Yes, sir.
What a pleasure to be part of this meeting, especially after Professor Jairaj took over as the Vice Chancellor. I have known him for several years, and when I came to know of this appointment, I wished him all the very best at this university, which is so dear to me. In fact, this is a university even before becoming a student in the university system. I used to pass by this place, and I used to meet several faculty members at the university. So when I'm talking about this university, of course, MGS Narayanan comes to mind, Aricode comes to mind, and Group comes to my mind. And so because I used to meet them in the university, and it was a pleasure during my BSc days, working with MGS Narayanan on the university, the pathways, they were also invigorating. So many things come to my mind. I'm also thankful to my dear friend and a former student at IIT, Professor Ravindran, who has been, well, I know him now for so many years, and his better half is my student, my former student, therefore I know him even more. And when Ravindran asked me, can you please give a lecture? And he was asking me, what kind of title can you give? I chose to talk about this, largely because this is also a time that Professor Jairaj is just getting initiated. I know that a few months have passed by, but it's just getting initiated. And therefore, it is important to put certain things in larger perspective, although he is quite aware of many of these things. I am also thankful to Professor Ahia, and I also know him for long, and it is always a pleasure to come to the university talking to all of you, and I know Renuka and several others are also there in the audience. Today, I thought this title is probably more relevant today in the university system, especially in the universities of Kerala. Looking at Indian university system, there are over 930 plus universities in the country today. Just after 2000, the number of universities exploded like crazy. We were just about 300 universities or so by 2000 or so. And at 220, we are at this number. A 3 times increase in the university system numbers and the number of people. And associated with that, there are a huge number of other challenges. Can all these universities function effectively? Can all these faculty members with expectation to perform, can they perform better? Is it possible for all of them to have adequate money for their research? Is it possible that when they produce students, their students, do they have opportunities? The opportunities that they aspire for. The opportunities which can quench their thirst. The opportunities which will fulfill their expectations. Do we have all that? So obviously, doing science of a different kind is needed. Because if, let us say today, many people tell me that for a scientist to do well, especially in chemistry, biology kind of areas, to do very well at the cutting edge, in Indian context, you need to put in about 2 crores of rupees on a person. But 2 crores of rupees per person is really needed to get the best out of that person in terms of resources, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the support system. And this is what many universities are doing in India today. I'm talking about ICERs and IITs and all these kind of institutions. Of course, state government universities have their own problems, but you realize that human aspiration is the same everywhere. Given a chance, given an opportunity, I'm sure that Ravindran can outperform many of the people in the university, in the IIT or IICR system. So everyone has aspirations to perform. Now, if a department has about 10 faculty members, and let us say 900 chemistry departments have 9,000 faculty members, and 9,000 faculty members require 2 crores each, we have 18,000 crores for chemistry alone to do science. What happens to the entire university system? Obviously, you can't simply multiply and ask this question, can science of that kind be possible in India? Obviously, it doesn't end there, because every student or every practitioner of chemistry or physics or whatever will produce 10 more such practitioners. So that means this is an order of magnitude increased in just a few years, the expenditure, I mean. Can we do science like that? So this, of course, results in, obviously poses a much larger question. So for me to take this subject of, or discuss the subject of affordable excellence in the university system, let me ask, what is this thing called university? University, in Wikipedia or Encyclopedia Britannica, you will find that it is a Latin name, which means community of teachers and scholars. Obviously, community in Kerala has a different meaning, but that is not the community here. The community here refers to a congregation, to a group of people, learned people, aspiring people, people who want to know that community where knowledge matters. And their single-minded devotion is knowledge. And knowledge seekers and knowledge givers, and collectively they build knowledge. So this is a community of hunters. They hunt for knowledge. And that in the university system today, we would say that it is a place which offers tuition in many mostly non-vocational subjects. Mostly, I mean, it is important. Today, I know that in many universities, there are not enough people studying languages, because language is non-vocational and there are no opportunities, or reduced opportunities, perceived reduced opportunities. In fact, opportunities in languages, they are increasing like crazy. And there are no good people writing English today. So obviously, language, opportunities in languages are increasing. Nevertheless, universities teaching Malayalam or English or Tamil or Kannada, they are on the decline. Well, we are moving away from this subject. Largely, a university is a place where degrees are awarded through training. And what are the essential characteristics of that place? And I'll come back to this subject a little later. The essential characteristics of such a place is academic freedom, where excellence is rewarded, where integrity is worshipped, and care for a community and society is held supreme. And I will touch upon all of these aspects in the coming slides. An example of that would be University of Oxford. This is now 924-year-old university. So obviously, universities are not born in a day. And care for this university system is essential to build a university. Care. Now, to illustrate this care, let me tell you a small story. Oxford University, I have written about it somewhere. Oxford University is so great. It has a beautiful lawn, and not many lawns, and people come and sit on these lawns, and as you can see here. So one day, an American came. America is, of course, known for many universities, great places. However, they are not this old. So American universities are generally 100 years old or 150 years old, etc. Now, many of these people wonder, or not just Americans, all over the world, when people go to Oxford, they wonder, how do you maintain such a place? So one day, this American came to Oxford University, and looking at these fantastic lawns, and people are sitting and chatting, and so nicely kept lawn, the American asked this gardener, hey, how do you maintain, how do you keep this lawn so beautiful, so nice, so even, so lively, you know? How do you keep this? The gardener said, you know, you come in the morning and, you know, like this, you water plants, you water this lawn, and you water this and water this and do this for 900 years. Then you have a lawn like this. What I want to tell you is that universities are not born in one day. If you have a tradition, you have to nurture it, you have to water it, you have to nourish it for centuries. Then universities are born. And there is so much to learn from that statement of the gardener. Water it every day for years together, for centuries together, you have a lawn. When such universities are there, of course, universities change the world. Universities build knowledge. With that knowledge, you look at the world very differently. And here is one such picture, which is a product of the university system. In fact, the university system produced the capacity for human being to go to moon. And in this Apollo 8 space travel, the astronaut William Andrews in 1968, on December 24th, took this fantastic picture from the space with moon in the background, as you can see at the bottom. He is taking a picture of Earth. Oh, what a wonderful picture. This picture is called the Earthrise, wherein it says that looking at from above, you see this tiny dot. This is our only home. There is no other place like this in this gigantic universe. And this picture prompted many people to write fantastic things about it. And one such statement is of Carl Sagan, a fantastic physicist. Look at that tiny dot. This dot I'm talking about is Earth. Looking at from the space, it is looking like a dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you have heard of, every human being, whoever was lived out, they're all here in this tiny dot. And I would say that all your love and hate is confined to this dot. The universities gave us that great vision of not just the vision about Earth or the universe or whatever. It gave us that giant vision, the capacity to see this world around us in very many different ways. In fact, if we imbibe the value system, which is part of this picture, then all our fights will disappear. You will see that everyone is together. Looking at this picture in great detail, you will see that there is no place for hatred at all. And what I wanted to say is that ideas indeed build the world. And these ideas, they are the result of the university system. It's not that ideas of agriculture or ideas of wheel or ideas of whatever else were not born outside the university system. But today, ideas which transform the world are from the universities. And people ask me, what are you saying? Ideas build the world. Well, there are many, many examples that I can illustrate to you. And I have chosen this picture to illustrate that point. This is this picture that our great astronomer, S. Chandrasekhar, talked about, astrophysicist, wrote about. And this is from his, well, it is there in his biography. It is also there in this book that has been edited by Kamesh Sharwali, who wrote a biography of Chandrasekhar. If you happen to read it, please have a look at it. This is telling you that as you climb up this ladder of knowledge, you see how small you are and how far you need to travel, you need to go. And in fact, the ladder that you climb up is an infinite, a ladder which is going to infinity. And it's a limitless ladder. And that is the ladder of ideas, the ladder of knowledge. And that's what universities are built. So when I say ideas built this world, this is a fantastic picture, a beautiful picture of the skyline of Chicago. This entire thing is nothing but ideas. And these ideas, in 200 years, transformed a land into what this is, with all its lasers and internet and communication and transportation and internal combustion engines and sky-rise buildings and steel and concrete and everything. This is a product of university system. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been built like this. Today, if you build anything, that is due to universities. Whether it is Bakran Uncle that is built, or it is a blast furnace that has been built, or it is the nuclear fusion or fission or whatever reactor that you have built, it is all a result of university system. It's not that alone. Your heating, agriculture is because of the university system. And we all live because this great population lives because of the university system. So I told you, I gave a big canvas of the universities. And the central point of these universities is academic freedom. Academic freedom is what? It has been a place of great battles of ideas, wherein another person's view is respected. A place is given for the views of others. And the battle of the titans happened, which resulted in new knowledge. And Oxford has witnessed many such battles. California, institutions, Berkeley and Caltech and all, witnessed many such battles. I don't have time to tell you of the 20th century battles or 19th century battles through which science is what it is today. And academic freedom, I touched upon that. It has been greatly independent. 900 years you water this lawn, nurture this university with complete independence, complete. And that is central to the university system. And the moment there has been an interference of any kind, the university system has eroded, collapsed, and disappeared, eclipsed. universities, in greater detail, they also built democracy. The care for another. And our Narayana Guru talked about it in great detail. Or, if you wish to read more about that, democracy is central to knowledge. That is how knowledge gets propagated by this great belief that the other guy also is equally competent. Universities of excellence, and that is the only motto with which they grow. Every individual has the potential for limitless growth. And every subject area has potential for limitless growth. And in University of California, Berkeley, Professor Sienna Rao used to tell me a story about Berkeley. There was this lady who was so crazy that, when somebody locked the university, the building, she wanted to get to the lab and get to work, and she climbed the building from outside, from the terrace. She went through all the lintels and all that, and went to her lab through the window. The university wanted to take, university security took notice of this and wanted to warn her. The president of the university said, that is the spirit of that individual, leave that person alone. So this is to tell you that university worships knowledge and everything else is unimportant. And universities are surrounded by, in a university, when you are there, you are surrounded by Himalayas. You look at today, let us say on the road, if you were to see Newton, what will you see? You look at Newton, today you can't, I don't know whether anyone today can measure up to Newton. So you are essentially having people of that magnitude around you. Well, need not be Newton, but everyone is giant in their own field. And that's what I said. In university, you are surrounded by Himalayas. So when you are surrounded by Himalayas, the only way that you can grow is to become a Himalaya. And in a university, integrity is central. Scientific integrity, academic integrity, academic ethics, academic virtue. Universities have to care. Care for what is that care? Universities have to care for humanity. That is why vaccines are born in universities today. Mind you, vaccines are born in the universities. And care extends beyond. Care extends to nature. Care extends to biodiversity. Care extends to climate change. Care extends to poor. Care extends to ideas. That is why even, let us say, the ideas which are practiced even for the smallest group of people, they are being researched upon in the universities because they matter. And when you look at universities are an expanding sphere. And all these happening, whatever changes that are happening at the very boundary of the knowledge, they're all captured by the universities. And universities, therefore, are places for complete living. And that is why university professors are respected globally, because they have inherited a value system wherein the world is together. But look at our universities. Fantastic places with great vision. In terms of vision, they are second to none. I would say towering vision, because I have been fortunate to meet several of these giants in the university system. And one day I remember walking with Achyutamen on Stekingar. What a giant visionary. But what has happened to the university system? Today I showed you this Earthrise picture of 1968. Same year, University of Calicut was born. I do not want to pick any one of these universities, but say that all of these universities have eroding vision. Towering vision, but eroding. And we are instrumental to this. Let us ask this question: what has happened in the process of discovery in the university system? Because universities did not produce Galileo. Universities did not produce Newton. But subsequently, well, all of them have some connection. But a system of research, we can see from Faraday on, the institutions built Faraday. Without Royal Institution, Faraday wouldn't have existed. Without IACS, C.V. Raman wouldn't have probably done whatever that he has done. Not just IACS, but other institutions as well. Without university systems, Linus Pauling wouldn't have done. So many people, today, without the university system, it is probably impossible to do discovery. But look at the other side of this graph here, of this slide. Discovery during the time of Newton needed an apple, I have written. Well, don't take it in a literal sense. Many other aspects of philosophy resulted in Newton. Or gravity was not discovered just by dropping a pebble or something from the Leaning Tower of Pisa. There are many other aspects which built Galileo and Newton. But then it is important to realize that discoveries took only very little in terms of materials investment. Discovery could also have been just an event. As in this Peter Marisburg station, the event happened on June 7, 1893 for Mahatma Gandhi. And on that, because of that event, that he was evicted from a train, a first-class train, on this particular night, Satyagraha was born. And Satyagraha changed India. Satyagraha changed the world. And that is why African National Congress celebrated this particular thing, event, Satyagraha, as something, or peaceful resistance that resulted in freedom across the world. So it can be just small, some object, or it can be an event that resulted in discovery, transformation in a person, or an institution, or a nation. But what is discovery today? Discovery today is infrastructure, great people, but ideas. But central to all these is infrastructure. Here I'm showing a great place, a microscopy laboratory of MRC laboratory of molecular biology. This is not an ordinary lab. This is a lab every year produces one Nobel laureate. It's not a normal lab. It is a culture. It's a value system. But even in those places, science gets done with infrastructure. And today with that, this kind of infrastructure, we solve structures. And all the beautiful structures of coronavirus that you see and the molecular details of that is because of microscopy of this kind. I don't have time to tell you that. But there have also been instances, even without these infrastructure and resources, we have built science too. And I took an example of Calicut University from Professor Adiodi's work. This is an edited book, but there are many things that he has done and his wife has done. So all of these I am aware of. Lots of things have happened. We need to realize that science, although it is great and big and all, it is so young. It is in chemical science, in 1800s, urea was synthesized in 1828. This slide, incidentally, is from C.N.R. Rao, mostly. So it is 1828. That is when Euler synthesized urea. But today, what has happened? Today, 9 million compounds have been synthesized by chemists. 9 million compounds. In 1900, we had just about 10,000 compounds. But although we have made 9 million compounds, 8 million organic compounds and 1 million inorganic compounds, and genetic code has been synthesized, known, etc. But so much is unknown. But it is just, see this is just 200 years is all that we have passed, and so much is known, but so much is unknown. And in 220, we have called tenders for mining in the moon. You might have noticed that. So it is possible for us to think about things of this kind. The world is connected, and that is why we are together. Plenty of opportunities. But if you want to discover something in that opportunities, you have to realize that science is endurance. Why did otherwise this person walked 3,500 kilometers, suffering all the Siberian cold, and came to St. Petersburg and wrote this fantastic thing called periodic table that we talk about today. This is a periodic table of today, which is the table of tables, which is today called the most valued table of the planet. And this started with a tiny thing, just one page, well, not even one page document. And you have heard about it, and therefore let me not tell you, but science is endurance. Science is wide open. In every area there are open things, and we can illustrate that in the course of time. But it is important to realize that science is made by people. And I mean it. Science is made by people like you and me. They're all humans. This entire thing that I just saw, that Chicago picture, or this giant picture that you saw just in the previous slide, or the very recent picture of a black hole being pictured, all of these are made by people. Many had very short lifetime. In 40s, 50s, 60s, they made these giant discoveries. So it is important to realize that it is possible to be done. Only two things are needed. One is to realize that science is endurance. Second is science is open. In chemistry, there are many examples to illustrate to you that chemistry is young. Chemistry is nothing but the science of chemical bonds. A chemical bond is 1916. That is when G.N. Lewis wrote this chemical bond. He said that chemical bond is sharing of bonds. He talked about octet. And this is from Linus Pauling's picture. And this is that G.N. Lewis, who I was talking about Linus Pauling, sorry. So G.N. Lewis' paper of 1916. So if you start looking at chemistry, understanding of chemistry, that is only just 100 years old. So there is, of course, there is so much more to be done. And you know, agriculture is 7,000 or 9,000 years old, depending on how you count it. There's so much is happening in agriculture. So obviously, so much is possible in chemistry. Science is, of course, driven by curiosity, as everybody would have said. And that curiosity with infrastructure has produced fantastic outcomes of science. And today, quantum mechanics, you can visualize these. You can see these atoms. You can see how these electron waves behave. This is a picture of a standing wave confined by electrons. So if you look at it from this giant canvas of the universities, how do we look at excellence today from the university context, especially Calicut University context? So I must tell you that excellence doesn't come as an accident. Please underline this. Excellence is not accident. Excellence is designed. So if you wish to know more about this, please read the history of Caltech or institutions of this kind. So much has been written about how a university is built from a small training college or training whatever center to what is Caltech today. It is many people consider that as the citadel, the first place to do sort of interdisciplinary science. And it is designed. So when you look at science, science can be done in many ways. And this is a fantastic book to read about what kind of science one should do today. This is, the book is called Pasteur's Quadrant, a very tiny book. I must be having right here in my bookshelf. I do have Pasteur's Quadrant. So it's a very tiny book, as you can see. So Pasteur's Quadrant talks about put science in an XY coordinate system. So on the x-axis, what you talk about is relevance or use or application or something. On the y-axis, we look at excellence, meaning basic science, fundamental advances. And this is application. And among these, of course, the right extreme, when you go from very low societal value to very high societal value, great application science, a great example of that is Edison. Of course, nobody has a doubt on that. There are many other examples, of course. On the other side of great excellence is Bohr, pure research. Bohr atom model. Without that, the world wouldn't have been existing. Right? So this is excellence and this is relevance. This is relevance. On the other side, both excellence and high relevance is Louis Pasteur. Of course, he discovered the entire area of bacteriology. Today, we are talking about vaccines and all that is because of the great advances that Pasteur has made. So if you want to do research, you want to do research where there is great application potential or there is great fundamental research relevance of that kind, or better still, will be both application and fundamental knowledge. So you would like to do science in the Pasteur quadrant. So that is a quadrant that you aim to do science. Well, of course, you can do science in the Edison quadrant or you can do in the Bohr quadrant, but you don't do science wherein application potential is low and fundamental outcomes are low. You don't do science in this quadrant. You do science, you don't do here. You either do here or do here, or you do here. So this is important to classify yourself into where you belong. Now, for us to do that kind of science, it is important to realize that our competition is not with Oxford. And we are not going to get to Oxford. Why is that? Well, look at Oxford University. Just the corpus of the university is over £6 billion. You look at NUS, National University of Singapore, the corpus of the university is about $2.5 billion. We're talking about universities wherein your annual budget of a university is more than your state budget. Obviously, we are not going to compete with Oxford, not only in financial terms, in many other terms. Our objective is not one-on-one competition with universities of that kind. But however, we are competing in limited areas with Oxford. That's important to realize. But we also need to realize that excellence does not occur in isolation. There is nothing called an isolated tiny dot in which excellence happens all the time. Excellence happens in an ecosystem. Key to excellence is people. So one day, there was this friend of mine who is a professor in Seoul National University. Seoul National University is the highest or most regarded university in South Korea. And to get there, you need here, there are many IITs, but South Korea, Seoul, there is only one SNU, that is Seoul National University. Everyone's ambition is to get there. So this boy, this is a young man as a professor. So he was at MIT for several years, and he is now a professor. And he used to come to the lab. And so I asked him one day, what was your learning of MIT, from MIT? 7 years or so, he was at MIT. So he was telling me that the greatest message that I got from MIT was that this one, key to excellence is people. You get a person of quality, that person will deliver quality. And that person, key is to provide that person with opportunities. Get the good person. And excellence is nurture. Excellence is not coming from the heavens. You get a good person, all right, but you nurture that person. Feed him, her. Excellence, you need to realize that excellence has no caste, religion, or race. Excellence is outside all these. Excellence is beyond disciplines. An excellent physicist coexists with an excellent chemist, and a mathematician, and a linguist, and a musician. Excellence is beyond disciplines. Excellence breeds excellence. Excellence must be imbibed by the system as a whole. Meaning, if the clerk is not supporting excellence of a professor, it's not going to be possible. Excellence is togetherness. Excellence is synergy. So system as a whole has to understand it is not this 100 people on this seminar hall, in seminar, not a hall today, should understand that it is excellence is together. Excellence is across the university system. And we also should realize that destroying excellence is very simple, just very simple. Just bring the wrong person and that's it. The whole thing is collapsed, gone. And there are examples of examples, and I don't have to illustrate this. So what can we do? Environment of excellence. We have debated on this n number of times, and I'm not going to present anything new, but I'm going to remind you that you have to create an environment of excellence. So how do you do that? I know that a good number of people in the university system are good. But then more good people have to come without barriers. Excellence has no religion, no caste, no creed, no color. And give them freedom in every respect. If we can do this by having a national and international distinguished faculty in every department, and you don't have to pay anything. There are people who are willing to help. Excellent national and international faculty. Just they are distinguished. They are distinguished in their own discipline, their own institution. You just give them a title. Allow them to interact with people. Of course, you need to provide them an opportunity, an ambience, and a good room, and a good accommodation, etc. Yes, it is all possible. Have university, within the university itself, there are good people. Give them titles. What prevents universities in making some people distinguished? University professors. Why can't we have emeritus professors? I was so surprised, and I was sort of somewhat aghast that many of the university, if you look at the websites of many of these departments, I have looked through several of them, they have sort of somehow forgotten. Am I audible, Ravindran? Am I audible?
Yes. I can hear.
Yes, sir. Very clear.
Very much.
So many of the university departments, if I were to look around, I see as if that they have forgotten the history. All those great men and women who have built the universities and the departments, they have disappeared from the universities. Chemistry department is an exception. It talks about its previous professors. But still much more can be done. Universities are not born in a day. We have to remember that it was built by people, eminence, who contributed their life, their blood and sweat and everything to the system. So I would like to see in all these web pages the previous professors and their contributions and whatever that we can get out. That is a way to celebrate the university. Of course, we have many things, good or bad or ugly, but then it is important to celebrate our people. And I also want to say that many people, when you retire, this is not an age of retirement at all. I don't want to retire. I want to die in the lab. There must be opportunities for that, for good people. So why not? They contribute to the university system. And I would like to say, start independent centers of excellence with industry. Many have done this. I know that central universities have a better scope in this particular regard, but state universities do have excellent centers with industry. Anna University has done that. But many more are possible. And I know that, and I was just talking to one industrialist in Calicut, they are not making small money. There are industrialists making over 3,000 crores a year in Calicut. It is possible. And I think it is possible if opportunities are given. Create a university development office. This is a completely different entity to connect with the alumni, connect with people, connect with the region, connect with the people who have benefited from the university system. Look for a talk corpus, a small, even if it is very small. It's a great thing that Professor Jairaj can do. University build a corpus. And what we have done in IIT Madras, just in the past few years, we have built a corpus of over 300 crores. Well, it is not big, but it has been possible to build corpus. Target proposals. I think 25% of the faculty must have sponsored projects. But then I was so shocked to see that many don't want to write proposals just because they are afraid that they would be penalized tomorrow. The papers cannot be submitted in time. Accounts cannot be closed in time. There will be tiny questions raised by some tiny person, and the entire thing will be collapsing. So There is a need to create a mechanism so that no funding opportunity is missed and no project is suffered due to procedure. And maybe it is quite important today to create a system so that the investigators find a value in this and they feel confident they can get some money, execute it in time and return it balance or get the balance or whatever, so that their future is not affected, their children don't suffer. Today I know of several cases wherein the university system suffers because of mistrust. Because one portion of the university wants to do, the other portion of the university finds fault all the time. And I would say that university should look at 10% of the papers in the best possible places. Gradually. And create a center for outreach. It is not only important to do something, it is important to present it in the national and international media. And it is important to reduce hierarchy. It's important to reduce hierarchy across the system and reduce political interference if it is whatever way that is possible. And I know that this is a difficult thing, but it is important to emphasize it, saying that here is a place, this will happen without that. Appreciate quality, celebrate success. I mean, there must be university mailing system or whatever. Appreciate quality. Everyone, somebody who publishes, somebody who gets something, like Professor Jera just congratulated people who got Patnagar prizes and whatever. Celebrate success of whatever kind. It may be small, it may be big, whatever. And it is possible to have target one visitor a day across disciplines. A person of quality every day comes to the university system. And it is important to make a difference. And it is possible on sitting on top of that hill. I am working in the area of water. No drop of water go wasted. We can ensure that. In fact, I know that there have been efforts in this direction and continuing efforts are going on. I am aware of all that. But much more can be done to ensure that this place is now in 5 years, it's a different place. Let every event get recorded. So one day, I was talking to Bhaskar Ramurthy here, my director. So we keep having these annual convocations and we read out all these events that have happened. And if you look at my own activities, I do summarize this in the form of brochures, and many of you get these annual brochures. If I were to summarize what I do every year, it is phenomenal. It's just that they get collected, they get recorded. And I want every event to be recorded, structured in the university. There must be a place wherein every event of the university is captured and it is celebrated and it is presented. Let our faculty and students travel. And it is a small money that we should give. And we should encourage our parents and tell them, get out of their inhibition and send their young kids, young men and women, go. And I should tell you that one day I conducted a meeting, and probably Ravindran would know. One day I conducted a meeting here, and this meeting in which students were used to come every year, I used to conduct such meetings. And this boy comes from Kerala, and he comes with his father. Okay, fine. I told him, you can come here straight, and somebody will get you from the railway station to the institute, and you can stay here. But he came with his father. The next day morning, I saw this boy, not morning, in the midnight, I saw this boy at the entrance of IIT Madras. And I asked him, why are you standing here? He was so puzzled. What to do, sir? I want to go home. I said, what is happening? He said, my father passed away. What? My father passed away. I want to be there. I want to catch a lorry or bus or something in the night. I want to go. I told him, boy, don't worry about it. I will get you home tomorrow morning. So I got him a plane ticket in the morning. Plane, all this flight service was all not there. So we got him home. You know what happened? This boy's father was a heart patient. This heart patient traveled with him because this parent was so concerned about this boy, a 21-year-old boy. Despite the assurance of this professor that he will be taken care of, this man traveled. And of course, he had to go back. He went back. That one day travel, another day return, he died. So we need to, there are many lessons that one can learn from this, but it is an important lesson to learn is that we need to allow our children to grow up. Not only that universities give freedom, but also allow people to grow up. And I would suggest that university should have an apex body to direct research, not your research advisory council and all that. I have seen that. But I'm talking about a research advisory body to direct research. Strategic changes that are required and approved by the syndicate or whichever machinery that is required. And it is possible. Create a circle of friends, national and international circle of friends who support the universities. I would also like this realization that it has to come across the university system. Every clerk has to come to this realization that the university system should take a pledge to celebrate quality. These people in Ravindran or whoever else or here are trying to do something. They are trying to do something for the benefit of the university, for the state of Kerala, for our country. People have to look at this with a little bit of lenience. Is it possible to do research of that kind? Of course, there are many things that are possible. I will close in another 5 minutes. History of science in Kerala is a grossly forgotten, neglected thing. And I have seen many books in this area. A lot more is possible. With many new tools that are available today, it is important to understand Kerala's tradition. I know just about 40 kilometers away from University Tenjipalam, Ayurveda was born, Ashtanga Hrudayam was born right here in Tirthala. Material science of Kerala has tremendous possibilities. Biodiversity is, there is this frogman of India sitting and doing research in Delhi. A lot more people are there, and he's a Malayali, right? A lot more things are possible. Water in Kerala, I know plenty of problems and solutions. And our own value-added things have possibilities. I'll take one example and tell you about that. Science in Malayalam literature is not only to be confined only in Malayalam department. Can we have new science? In each of these, there are plenty of things. And let me just show you. This is a paper that is on ACS Nano website now, and it has not yet got a page number. So what is this paper? This paper is talking about wood. Take a big piece of wood and then make it like a sponge. That's what this paper is. And it is reversible. It is sponge. Oh, is it? So Ravindran asked me, what is good science? Can you talk about this? I took this particular thing right today and this week's announcement. Highly elastic hydrated cellulosic materials, durable compressibility and tunable conductivity. So everything is there in this. Wood is made into an advanced material. What is that? Wood is on this left side. By small chemical treatment, it is now made into a plastic. This is wood, and it is plastic with a conductivity, with all these properties that whatever that you want to think of advanced materials. So is this possible to do? Is this possible to be done with coconut fibers? Well, there are many such possibilities. So what is it? To do science, you need a great idea. Ideas don't come from the heavens. Of course, they say that ideas come from the heavens. Oh, I do get plenty of ideas every day. But good people are required. And good data and good infrastructure are required. Interdisciplinarity is central. And that has to be presented well. I mean, these figures don't come just like that. They come with the value system, with some training. Good language is required. A good journal is required. To get there, good perseverance is required. Oftentimes, a paper gets published in 2 years with 2 years of intense effort, with another probably 2-3 years of work and two years of intense effort. The paper doesn't come just like that. It is hard work. So what are these journals looking for? First and foremost is novelty. So you want a collapsible wood. Yeah, it is novelty. Quality. Quality in everything that you see. Quality is, all these are quality. And let me, understanding. It's not just that data are there. Of course, it has to be understood. It may have applications. You may be on the quadrant, the x-axis that I talked about, the Edison quadrant. Or it may be in the pasture quadrant. You must have applications. May or may not. You need to present it well. You need to have scholarly language. You need to credit people. Science doesn't come from the heavens, as I told you. Science, you stand on the shoulders of masters, as Newton said. But at the same time, you don't copy people. You are concerned about plagiarism. You are aware that you are one tiny bit in that Anandamatnyadamavarnaniyam. So you are so tiny bit in this whole world. Can you get there? In order to get there, you need to make impact. One way to look at impact is impact factor, as all of you know. And so publish well in good places and get noticed. And all of these are important, awards, rewards, fellowships, and all that. But don't work for all of these. They will come. Never publish at lesser places. These lesser places have no value at all. Nobody looks at it. And people ridicule you. Publish always at the right places. Can we get 10% of papers in ACS or APS? And obviously, it may not be possible to get 10%, but is it possible to get it there gradually? And as I said at the beginning, universities are not born in a day. They are nurtured. They are nurtured every day. And in our science, we have been in a position to take science of advanced materials to people. And that has been possible with students. Fantastic set of students. It is a culture that you inculcate and the value system that you inculcate. And it's a beautiful place. Nothing is photoshopped here, right? Everything is what is there. And there's a great place, IIT Madras. We have built this place, and this is one of our laboratories. Beautiful place. Many things going on. And it is this floor that you see. This floor is that reflection that you see is every day like this. It's not one day it is floor mopped or something and then it is taken a picture for that day. Every day it is like this. Unless you practice science like that every day this appearance is like this. As you can see, only then science gets done. And that is a hard labor. All the very best to you for that wonderful journey through science. Thank you very much, Dr. Ravindran. Thank you very much, Professor Jairaj. Thank you very much, Professor Yahya. Thank you all.